So your ecom store is up and running, but you're not really sure exactly how to launch it with traffic. Should you use Facebook ads or should you use influencer marketing? Well, in this video, I'm going to be running through the pros and cons of Facebook ads versus influencer marketing and how to decide on which one is best for you for launching your ecom store. All right, let's jump in. So the good thing about Facebook ads is that if you know what you're doing, especially when it comes to doing some audience research, creating creatives, video or image creatives, or writing copy, high conversion copy for your ad, then you're going to be in a good place to actually get some campaigns up and going, which could become profitable for you fairly quickly. So that's one place that Facebook excels, is that if you know what you can do, you can go in there and just start testing right away, and then traffic is going to be available to you ASAP. Another benefit of using Facebook is that once things start sort of panning out, you understand exactly what the right funnel is for you. You know the audience that works for you, the creative, and the landing page that works for you. You can start scaling and start using some of the data on your pixel, for example, the purchase data that you've created, to turn into lookalike audiences, that you can expand your audience fairly quickly. So that's one thing that Facebook definitely has an advantage on, in terms of the ability for you to expand your audiences if the campaign is working well for you. Another advantage of using Facebook ads is that you can track your results fairly accurately. Obviously, it's not 100%, but it gives you an idea of exactly what campaigns are working, like creatives are working, audiences are working. So it gives you an idea of which ones are working, and it also attributes the sales fairly accurately to your campaigns and to your creative assets. So that's one of the reasons why I like Facebook. In terms of the cons though, if you're starting off with Facebook, one of the things that I see that could certainly be at a bit of a disadvantage is the fact that if you don't have any sales data, any sort of data that you've collected, be it pixel data from add to carts or initiate checkouts or purchases, you don't probably have any sales data, or you haven't built up a newsletter, then you really don't have any data to train the algorithm, right? You can't really create custom audiences or lookalike audiences, and you have to depend on the interest audiences there, which can be good, but then everybody else is using those interest audiences. So you can imagine that the CPA, from just using interest audiences can be higher than if you had already had purchases that you could turn into lookalike audiences, or your pixel was really well seasoned, then you had a lot of event triggers for add to carts and initiate checkouts. Another area that you got to be careful when it comes to Facebook ads is that you can easily lose a ton of money if you don't know what you're doing, right? So Facebook is not going to tell you, hey, look, this is exactly how you need to optimize your campaign in order to generate the best CPA. Obviously, they give you generic recommendations, but they're never going to give you tailored recommendations that's going to help you make sure that your campaign's profitable. So that's definitely something you want to watch out for if you're new to the Facebook ads platform. The third one I've got here is probably the most important one on the list, and that's what really, in my opinion, differentiates the two modes of getting traffic. Is the fact that you don't own the traffic, right? You don't own the channel. So Mark Zuckerberg could just decide that he doesn't like the look of your face, and which happens, fairly often. I've had my account disabled and restricted, and yeah, it's just a pain trying to deal with Facebook to get those reinstated. So it can happen to anybody. A lot of legitimate businesses have their accounts disabled and restricted for no good reason. So one of the things to bear in mind is that you don't have control over the platform. So, tread carefully. If you're using Facebook ads, you definitely want to diversify your stream of traffic. And this is why influencer marketing is very important. When it comes to influencer marketing, one of the big advantages of influencer marketing that Facebook ads doesn't really offer you is the ability to build key relationships with partners in your industry. So your influencers in your industry who also could be your ideal customer, right? So you build relationships with them. They're going to be able to give you feedback on your product and also gather feedback from their audience as well. So I think this is really important because that relationship is going to be long lasting and it's something that you can tap into over time, regardless of whether you have access to Facebook ads or not. The next one I've got on the list is seasoning your pixel. So I believe that using influencer marketing festival to generate sales is a good way to season your pixel, be it your Facebook pixel, could be your YouTube ads pixel, whatever pixel it is a good way to actually season that pixel. So that way you're teaching the pixel without actually paying for Facebook ads. You're already teaching the pixel the kind of people that add to cart, who initiate checkout as well as purchase. So let's say, for example, you get to the point where you've triggered your pixel to have like 100 purchase events or 100 add to cart events or whatever events are relevant for you. You could use those events and turn them into custom audiences, and then also turn them into lookalike audiences to go back into Facebook later down the line to run campaigns. So this is a really good way to teach the algorithm who your ideal customer is without having to spend an exorbitant amount of money training it to get to the point where it's it understands who your customers are. So that's the second point. Now the third one, very similar to the first one, is that by building relationships with these influencers, you're going to be able to understand who your audience is. What do they resonate to the most? So what sort of messages do they resonate with the most? And what are the things that they, what sort of objections do they have? And also by testing out different influencers, you're going to be able to understand which influencers do well for you and why they do well for you. What is it about that influencer's audience that's leading to higher conversions versus the other influencers you've dealt with? If you're able to sort of tease out the performance between different influencers, then it gives you a good idea of how to then do targeting later down the line if you decide to use Facebook ads or another ads platform. So what are the cons of influencer marketing? One of the things you have to bear in mind is that when you're getting started with influencer marketing, it may take time for you to find the right partner. So it's not guaranteed that you're going to find them immediately, and the price at which you're going to find them is going to work for you. So you may need to kiss a few frogs, just keep looking out there to find the best influencer for you. Could be YouTube or Instagram, but it's going to take some time to find a partner that would work for you. The next one on the list has to do with the higher upfront costs for influencers. So as most of you know, in Facebook ads, you could probably spin up a campaign for $5, $10. Fairly cheap campaigns can be started on Facebook ads. However, to get an influencer involved with your brand, you're probably going to be looking at something within the region of $500 per post to about $10,000 per post, depending on how popular they are. But in the grand scheme of things, if you find the right influencer, it can really pay off for you and bring a good return for your brand. So I wouldn't be deterred by the cost per post. Now, the final one on the list is about tracking and attribution. And I mentioned this when I spoke about Facebook. This is where Facebook really leads the charge. Influencer marketing, it can be challenging for you to get the right tracking in place and attribution, because someone could see the post that your influencer makes but then go directly to your website to purchase. So it can be quite difficult to understand what the path is. But one thing you can do is to provide your influencers with custom links. So as much as possible, you're funneling people through that custom link over to your website. So you can add a UTM to it or just generate a custom link. You can do this in Shopify if you're using Shopify as well. So that's one challenge, but this is a challenge that shouldn't really deter you from using influencer marketing. The question you probably have on your mind is which one is best for you. I would say if you're technically savvy when it comes to running Facebook ads, then by all means go ahead and see if you can start generating some quick sales with Facebook ads. However, if not, I would highly recommend you go down the path of using influencer marketing to first of all launch your brand and get some data which you can use on Facebook ads later on. And actually, based on what I've learned with the brand I'm trying to scale, I would, if I could do it all over again, start with influencer marketing because of a few things. As I mentioned before, you're going to build relationships with these influencers, and as a result of that, you're going to get potentially assets back from them, video assets which can be used as UGCs, user-generated content for your Facebook ads, right? So this is a much better way to get UGCs which can funnel into your Facebook ads and improve the performance of your creatives. Another thing that's going to really benefit you as well when it comes to using influencer marketing is the data you will generate, which would make your advertising a lot cheaper when it comes to using Facebook ads or even YouTube ads. So generate the data, generate a customer list, and then use that to create lookalike audiences on Facebook ads to improve your performance. And lastly, it's just the understanding you get about your customer. which of your influencers have an audience that resonates the most with your product, and why do they resonate the most with your product. That way you can begin to find other audiences that are similar to their audience, and it will inform the targeting you do on Facebook ads. However, I would say the best strategy is really to combine the two modes of getting traffic. If you know Facebook ads, go with that, but don't forget influencer marketing. If you do start off with influencer marketing, realize that you can use the data you get from that and the relationships you've built and the knowledge to really pour gasoline on the fire and scale your brand. So thanks for watching this video till the end. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Amara and I'm documenting my journey of scaling my e-commerce brand to 7 figures, and I'd like to take you along and share all of my learnings with you so you can apply it to scaling your brands. So if you like videos like this, do consider subscribing and hitting that like button and that notification bell so that when next I post, you'll know about it. All right, take care.